Welcome back to the recap of Red Swan drama episode 6. Someone drives a drone and accidentally blows it up on their car. At first Do-Yoon was able to dodge, but unfortunately, the drones were so fast and there were so many of them. Until finally a drone get under the car and immediately blew up the car. Their car caught fire and rolled over. Apparently, the person who controls the drone is Lee Jin. Riding her motorbike, she approached the car and checked the condition of those who were unconscious. It turned out that Do-Yoon was still conscious, and he immediately took Wan-Soo out of the car. Suddenly the car exploded and the debris from the explosion hit Do-Yoon's body. Do-Yoon fell unconscious on top of Wan-Soo's body. They were taken to hospital by ambulance. It turned out that this assassination attempt had been heard by the media who were waiting in front of the hospital. Do-Yoon is operated on and the doctor tries to save him by removing the debris. Lee Jin is seen watching and look after Do-Yoon's operation process. Mr. Park is very worried and the doctor explains that if the debris lodges deeper, Do-Yoon's lungs could be damaged. Luckily the operation was successful and Do-Yoon will be moved to the room. Mr. Park is somewhat relieved and asks Lee Jin to keep an eye on Do-Yoon, because he will stop by the police station. Jung-guk was waiting for his wife and he was very worried about her condition. Then Wan-Soo regained consciousness, but the first thing his wife asked was the condition of the bodyguard. Hearing that, Jung-guk, who had been waiting for his wife to wake up, was a bit disappointed, because the first thing his wife asked was the condition of the bodyguard. Wan-Soo also asked about the media, are there any new articles released? Jung-guk explained that there were many articles talk about his wife. And the doctor said it was a miracle that Wan-Soo was not injured. Jung-guk asked Wan-Soo to rest and leave her. Lee Jin entered Do-Yoon's room, looking like she was planning to kill him again. But Jung-guk came in and saw Do-Yoon's condition for a moment. When Jung-guk left, Lee Jin intended to do it again, but she saw there was CCTV there, so she thought better of it. Outside the building, she reported to someone that her mission had failed. The police commissioner comes to the main palace. Mr. Hon greeted him and asked him to come in. The commissioner promised to immediately arrest the perpetrators of the attack. The National Forensic Agency is trying to solve it as quickly as possible, because it happened in Korea. Chairman Park felt dizzy when she heard that, and gave a code to Mr. Hon to take the commissioner to another place. Mr. Hon gave the envelope and the commissioner accepted it happily. Mr. Hon said that failing to catch the perpetrator was incompetence. But choosing not to catch them was ingenious. The commissioner was a little confused by what Mr. Hon said. Then Mr. Hon explained again that share prices always fell because of this incident. The commissioner seemed to pretend he didn't understand and still wanted to investigate the case. It seems he suspects the secretary of the Hwain Group. Wan-Soo entered Do-Yoon's room, but couldn't find him. It turned out he met his colleague at the police and asked for CCTV footage of the incident. After leaving the police station, Mr. Park reported to Jung-guk that the police have not found evidence of who carried out the attack. Then Mr. Park was assigned again by Jung-guk to send tactical money to the casino as usual. He then remembered Do-Yoon's words about hiring an assassin. Is it true that the money he always carries is dirty money or money to hire an assassin? Mr. Park also started to become suspicious and curious. Mr. Hon finds out that Jung-guk has his own tactical funds and he reports it to Chairman Park. He created 100 accounts, each containing 1 billion won. His mother let him, because she was sure that her son would want to have his own money, without her knowing. She told Mr. Han not to take care of this. What she is now worried about is her second son, Yeong-min, who is stubborn and greedy. Initially, her mother intended to give him a foundation, but Yeong-min refused. She was confused about where her second son inherited his greed from. And Mr. Han immediately looked annoyed when she said that. Wan-Soo's older brother, Hwain-Soo, reported to Jungkook that Yeong-min still wasn't picking up his phone. But Mr. Han still hasn't given up on Cosmo Cosmetics, wanting to join Jungkook's duty-free shop. And Jungkook asked Hwain-Soo to keep an eye on Mr. Han. Jungkook thought that the fool was still ungrateful. Mr. Han then spoke to Yeong-min and his wife Do-Yoon. Yeong-min doesn't accept it if Wan-Soo or Jungkook don't apologize to them. And according to Mr. Han, it's impossible for Wan-Soo to do something like that. But according to Do-Yoon, this is very important because she doesn't accept it. A lowly golfer from among the poor like Wan-Soo lowers their dignity. Mr. Han is confused about why Do-Yoon places so much importance on someone's generation. In the past, her grandfather was an ordinary cosmetics dealer. According to her, Yeong-min should just obey his mother's wishes and accept the foundation. But Yeong-min still doesn't want to accept it. He felt that his mother was biased and prioritized Jungkook, his older brother. He also hated Mr. Han for daring to order him around, even though he was just a family lawyer. And apparently Mr. Han was also the one who arranged the marriage between Yeong-min and Do-Yoon. Actually, who is Mr. Han? Even though he is an ordinary family lawyer, he can do things like that and becomes trusted of Chairman Park. Wan-Soo finished packing to go home from the hospital. But before going home, she wanted to see the condition of her bodyguards first. She asked Lee Jin to wait for her and she went into Do-Yoon's room. When she saw Do-Yoon, Wan-Soo was very worried, because Do-Yoon was almost dead. And a little more, the lungs can be damaged. However, according to Do-Yoon, the important thing is that Wan-Soo is not injured. Wan-Soo asks why he always puts himself in danger. Do-Yoon just followed what his heart said. Wan-Soo asks why he let Do-Yoon's heart follow her. It happened before Do-Yoon realized it, and he was relieved that Wan-Soo wasn't hurt. Wan-Soo is confused about how she can repay Do-Yoon for all his kindness. When Do-Yoon wanted to show the CCTV that was at the crime scene at the time of the incident, Wan-Soo doesn't want to see it. She says she now trusts Do-Yoon. She was sad to see the wounds on Do-Yoon's body, and Do-Yoon could feel the sadness in Wan-Soo's eyes. Then they hugged. However, because there were bodyguards outside, Wan-Soo immediately let go of the hug and left. Wan-Soo will talk to Do-Yoon again at home. Wan-Soo begs Do-Yoon not to risk his life for her anymore. While at Wan-Soo's house, as usual, she met her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law was surprised. Even though Wan-Soo's car was on fire, Wan-Soo wasn't scratched at all. Wan-Soo apologizes for making her worry. Her mother-in-law is curious, did Do-Yoon hug her when he saved her? But the bodyguard did that because she already paid him quite a lot. Then Wan-Soo asked, can her mother-in-law buy someone's life with money? Her mother-in-law replied that it was a trade secret. According to her, this year, Wan-Soo was very unlucky because her life was threatened several times. So try to be nice and sort out the Chinese business affairs. She said that Tira apparently wanted to invest in Chinese business this time. Even though Tira is actually the daughter of a mistress, which means her mother is also having an affair. But Tira's father is a famous former judge. And her half-brother is a famous financial manager in Hong Kong.
So if Youngmin's family withdraws, then Tira's family can enter. Her brother was surprised to see that Wan-Soo was already working. She should still be resting. Wan-Soo asked her brother, Hwain-Soo, for the Hwain Group company ledger, but actually there are two big books. The ledger he was holding had been altered for tax purposes. Meanwhile, the original one is in Mr. Han's hands. Her brother is a senior managing director at Hwain. So if there is a problem, then he will be the one to blame. Wan-Soo felt that what they had done to her and her family was too much. But Hwain-Soo was worried because Wan-Soo could be in danger. There was nothing people like the two of them could do. If Wan-Soo exposes the Hwain family's tactical funds, then her brother could be jailed. Foundation owners, like Wan-Soo, will also be jailed. That's how it ends. Hwain-Soo also didn't agree with Wan-Soo's plan. At night, Chairman Park came to Mr. Han's pavilion and brought a bottle of wine. And Young-guk saw the two of them from outside. It turns out that Young-guk has long known the secret of his mother and Mr. Han's relationship. Even when he was little, he had caught his mother sleeping with Mr. Han. His mother said that his father already knew about their relationship. He only kept his disappointment with his mother alone. Do-Yoon finally comes home from the hospital. Mr. Park then checked Do-Yoon's condition because he thought Do-Yoon still needed treatment. Mr. Park knew that Do-Yoon had seen him when he saw the recording of Chairman Kim's death. Then Mr. Park asked whether Do-Yoon saw the perpetrator who killed Ju-Yuk. Do-Yoon explained that the perpetrator was also the mastermind behind the attack on director Wan-Soo in Manila. Do-Yoon realized that the perpetrator had a strange habit of holding a knife. But Do-Yoon didn't tell Mr. Park. Because it seems like Do-Yoon still suspects Mr. Park. Do-Yoon asked, according to Mr. Park, who would most like Chairman Kim and Wan-Soo to leave. Mr. Park doesn't know. He thinks Chairman Kim really loves Young-guk. He had no reason to do that to his father. So was Young-guk involved in the attack on Wan-Soo? Because Mr. Park just sent money to the 8-star fortune casino. And Young-guk also needs SNL Foundation tactical funds to survive. Mr. Park told him to stop because he didn't want to lose Do-Yoon. But Do-Yoon urges Mr. Park to help him. Actually, why was he taking money to the 8-star fortune casino? Wan-Soo crept around, looked at the situation and entered Do-Yoon's room. Wan-Soo asked Do-Yoon to help him get the ledger from Mr. Han's pavilion. When Wan-Soo wanted to leave, Do-Yoon held her hand. He asked Wan-Soo not to get involved because he will take care of it. Do-Yoon believes the perpetrator was anxious because he failed to kill Wan-Soo again. That's why Wan-Soo needs a handle to attack them. And Wan-Soo is grateful that Do-Yoon is back. The next day, Do-Yoon rushed to the pavilion. He realized that there was no CCTV at all in this pavilion, which means that if someone enters or leaves, they won't be noticed. That's where illegal meetings and exchange of bribes take place. When Mr. Han leaves, Do-Yoon tries to enter the pavilion, but there are dogs guard. Then, Do-Yoon closed the CCTV and took Mr. Han's belongings from the trunk of his car. Then he gave it to the dog to keep it quiet, but it turned out, to get into the pavilion is using fingerprints. Then Do-Yoon took Mr. Han's drinking glass and took his fingerprints. He scanned the fingerprint and printed it. And Do-Yoon entered the pavilion using the fingerprint he made. It turns out that Lee Jin saw Do-Yoon in the pavilion. When he wants to open a safe, apart from using his fingerprints, he must know the access code for the safe. Lee Jin reports to Mr. Han that Do-Yoon has entered the pavilion. Then he asked Lee Jin to go and checking SNL Foundation
Do-Yoon installs a camera on the clock facing the safe. As he was about to leave, he saw a pile of Ha-Neul Foundation ledgers. Mr. Hon enters the pavilion and doesn't find Do-Yoon. Inside the safe it is still neatly arranged and nothing is missing. Then he felt something was odd and it turned out the ledger was no longer there. Do-Yoon rushed to the Ha-Neul Foundation office, carrying a bag containing a big book. He came in and showed what he had gotten to Wan-Soo and Hwain. But Do-Yoon didn't let Wan-Soo take it because it was dangerous. When Do-Yoon was about to leave, suddenly the prosecutor's office arrived. They brought a search and seizure warrant for the Ha-Neul Foundation. Then they also arrested Hwain for embezzling Ha-Neul Foundation funds. What really happened? Watch the next episode of Red Swan drama on my channel.